Today's speech is called Diversity. Diversity. I am from Canada, and I was born in the city of Vancouver, but I lived for many years in a very cold part of Canada. 2 weeks before, it was very cold. It was minus 35 degrees. Everything was ice and snow and wind. Of course, I love my country, but it is not easy to love a place that is too cold. Compared to Canada, Kagawa is very warm, even on a day like today. My country is a country of great diversity. People from all over the world come to Canada. 47% of Canada is made from people who long ago came from Europe. My family comes from Europe and came to Canada. 28% of Canada comes from America or Mexico. Native Indian people are about 5%, and people from Asian countries is 15%. People from South America and the Caribbean are about 4%, and a few come from Australia and New Zealand and Fiji too. Canada has a lot of diversity, and there are many people from different places that move to Canada and make it their new home. Diversity is something that Canadians have pride about. Canadians speak English and French, and there are many different religions too. In Canada, you can hear many languages on the street from all over the world. And many of my Canadian friends are very proud that our country has so many different people. When we think about Japan, many people think there is only one culture and that there is not so much diversity in Japan. But maybe we should think about what is the meaning of diversity, because diversity is not only a word for Canada. In Japan, we see a lot of diversity here too. There are many different kinds of people. There are people who live in Tokyo and people who live in Osaka. Both places are very different. The people are different. The language is a little different. The people in Kyushu are different than the people in Hokkaido. And the people in Okinawa are different than people in Kyoto. And of course, the people who live in Kagawa are really the most unique and special of all. There's a lot of diversity in Japan. There are people who live in cities and people who live in the countryside. There are people who live near the sea and oceans, and people who live near the mountains. There are people who study deeply the traditional arts of Japan, and there are people who study technology and make wonderful things in science and computer engineering. When we look more deeply in Japan, we see a huge diversity of people. It's very interesting to see so many different kinds of people all over Japan. There is a lot of diversity here in Otamae too. There are junior high school students and high school students. There are sports players and artists and musicians. There are clever students and there are charming students. There are students who study very hard, and there are students who should study a little more. Many different people have many different ideas and feelings, plans and dreams. So when we look more deeply at Otamae, we see a huge diversity. The most important thing that in Canada and Japan is that we see and know that diversity gives us power and strength. Diversity gives us understanding of other people, and diversity helps us understand the human heart. Diversity is in nature and in human nature, and diversity makes a unique and special connection with everyone. Thank you very much, and have a great day.